Hello, this is Bob Davies, and I wanted to share a few insights with you after the presentation. I certainly enjoyed presenting to your group and thought I might just have a word with you after some time has passed. Remember what the biggest challenge is that we've always faced, and that is how do we go from entertainment into impact? That's the question. Can we make this stick? And remember that it's all about this statement. You have far more capacity to create the circumstances and events in your life than you are aware of. The entire presentation was proof of that claim. And it's all about how your brain works. It's all about influencing how you think, which influences how you feel, your physiology, which influences what you do. It also works the other way around, that what you do influences how you feel, and that influences your attitude as well. Everything that happens is caused by our brain, and the good news is that we can influence our brain. We can grow new neurons called neuroplasticity. It used to be thought that the human brain stopped developing new neurons at about the age of 24, but scientists now have developed that you can continue to grow new neurons, create new habits constantly through the rest of your life if you are engaged in an enriched environment. An enriched environment means constant learning, constant growth, constant reading, constant stimulation, exercise, proper nutrition, all those combined together to give you a clear mind and excellent health for the rest of your life. And so everything we do influencing what you pay attention to. That's the absolute key. So the challenge is to get your intentions, what you want to do, what you intend to do, to match what you actually do. We want that distortion to be very small so that you make a plan for the week and you actually do what you said you would do, even though you've got distractions and all kinds of different competing priorities. How do you do that? You do that through focus. Now, what is focus? Focus is the ability to influence what you pay attention to. So everybody has blinders on and you're thinking about a goal that you have in mind, an area that you want improvement in. And now we've got to realize that we are genetically coded to have a competition. We're genetically coded so that part of our brain, referred to as a survival mechanism, is constantly searching for danger. And when we have an activity that we link as dangerous, even though it's not dangerous, the survival mechanism is the neurological network that overrides your desire to take action and compels you to avoid. This is the competition, the internal default genetic coding competition. And I can put this into a phrase of what motivates all human beings. All human performance is either the avoidance of pain or the seeking of comfort. So now we know that this is what happens. This is the genetic code. This is the code that competes with us for performance. We can't fight this. This is operating in our lives all the time. What we can do is tap into it and get it to drive us and compel us to reach our full capacity. How do we do that? We do that by making specific commitments and having accountability by just one small dynamic in our life referred to as behavior contracting. By adding behavior contracting into your life, you are now in alignment with human nature. Human nature is not limiting you now. Human nature is to your advantage, and it gives you a tremendous competitive advantage. Now, the outer cortex, part of your brain, is going to resist this. Who knows what that alien internal dialogue is going to be? This is stupid. This is ridiculous. I don't need to do this. I'm already successful. Whatever it is, just shut it down. Say thank you for caring and not for sharing. Use the stop technique. Stop those thoughts and flip and make a behavioral contract 1 week at a time. So let's dissect it. Remember that instincts trump intentions. And so your instinct is avoidance. Your instinct is your comfort zone, not your intentions, which are going to be beyond that comfort zone. Instincts trump intentions. We must have an intervention. Remember that analogy I made? If I blow air puff gun and I blow a puff of air into your eyes, your eyelids were closed, and now you know it's coming. You intend not to close, and I puff air into your eyes, they still close because instincts trump intentions. Intend to run up a flight of stairs and keep your heart rate low. Not going to happen. Instincts trump intentions. So all we're doing is tapping into what is already there, the compelling force to avoid what you perceive as the highest level of perceived pain. So here's the formula. We have a specific commitment. Now, this just in itself sets you apart. This is a plan, a precise plan for a short period of time. That's, first of all, sets you apart. Now you want to really distance yourself from the group, from the masses, add accountability to it. So it looks like this. Somebody checks in with you outside of yourself and checks in to inspect and verify. Did you do what you said you would do? And if you didn't, now here's where the avoidance comes in, the enforceable consequence. We know we're going to avoid the highest level of pain. So we make that pain the highest level of the consequence. And that is what we will avoid. How do you avoid it? By taking the action. Now, the application. This is not forever. This is for this week, 1 week. The application is the moment you wake up on Monday till the time you go to bed on Sunday. So it's a 7-day period of time. I promise you that if you just give this a shot with one small action, then you'll do it again next week because you're going to see something different. You're going to influence, we talked about selective perception. You're going to influence what makes it into your awareness. You're going to influence what you pay attention to. And it's very likely that you're going to do what you said you were going to do. In the past series of programs that I've done, I've gotten emails back from people who gave me commitments. Every single one of them not only did what they said they would do, but every single one of them did more than what they said they would do. It's just great to see that that is the result that is common. So, Monday through Sunday. Now, what is it that you commit to do? It should be something that you can do, but that you probably wouldn't do unless you brought some attention to it. And now here's the magic. What's the consequence if you don't do it? A rare conversation, right? It's that stick that will physically rewire the brain with brain plasticity. This is the one small dynamic that I'm asking you to add in your life, behavioral contracting. There's never a reason not to have someone hold you accountable. I will hold you accountable. I'm an email away and $100. info@bobdavies.com. Remember, the human genetic trait, the instinct, is that we will avoid the highest level of pain, period. We will avoid it, whether it's conscious, non-conscious, we will avoid. So if the highest pain is the penalty, we will avoid that. How do we avoid that? By taking the action. If the highest pain is the action, we'll avoid the action and we won't take the action. So most people just orient in their life without a consequence. And so what's the focus? The focus is on the pain of the activity, and then that leads to the avoidance. And then what do we do with avoidance? We rationalize. And what is rationalization? Its purpose is to protect us, and it's a justification of avoidance. So let me spend some time talking about penalties, and then we're going to take you into a final concept. So with penalties, the easiest penalty is money. Now, I use this quite a bit, and it's a dosage. You find out what kind of a dosage is going to work for you. What kind of a fine is going to catch your attention so that it's high enough and painful enough that you've broken through this tipping point of the threshold of the most pain, that you are going to make sure that you are going to take the activity and not pay that fine. Now, there's going to be certain circumstances where money is not appropriate as a fine. In certain corporate organizations, it's not appropriate. If somebody has a problem with money, it's not appropriate. And so I want you to be creative. And here's an example. I think I may have given this to you, that this person said they're going to do this activity. If they don't, they will bark at 10 people at a mall. Now, this takes away your comfort. This is painful if it's the right kind of application. In other words, if this would be horrific for you to have to stop 10 people, strangers, and bark at them like a dog, then how do you avoid doing that? By doing what you said you would do. I apologize about this picture in advance. I spoke to a group, a direct sales group in Canada, and 6 months later, they brought me out for a different program for the same group. And this woman came up to me and said, I had to eat a spider because of you. And she had promised to do something, and it was a realistic commitment. And she said, she didn't do it. And then she told me how she put a spider between two Ritz crackers. Oh my God. But anyway, it's definitely that was a creative penalty. Here's one. Somebody said, if I don't do what I say I would do, I will send an email to my entire organization. I am not to be trusted. I don't do what I say I will do. So you can see that there's all kinds of ways to be creative and to come up with painful consequences that are to be avoided. And one person said, well, if I don't do these activities, then at the end of the week, I am not going to go and play golf on the weekend. And that was something they really loved to do. So the pain was taking away something that they really enjoyed doing. Somebody else said, if I don't do this task, then over the weekend, I'm not going to watch my favorite TV shows. Again, it's a dosage of what works for you. What's going to be the highest level of avoidance of pain that's going to catch your attention? And certainly disappointment is one that works. Now, I learned this just really recently. If there is enough, if it's a strong enough relationship and somebody promises to you that they will do something and you will be very disappointed if they don't, many times that rises to the threshold of pain that is high enough to be avoided so they don't disappoint you. So, one last concept I want to share with you. I wrote an article on this. Send me an email, I'll send you the article. The neural psychology of change and the refusal of the masses. What you're looking at is neurons. Remember, all behavior is neurologically directed. It's neurologically controlled. We are neurons. We are the result of our brain's interactions. And we have neurons that extend their axons, it's called, and they form dense bundles of neurological pathways that are referred to as neural networks, also referred to as schematas. And these are our behaviors. These are our memories. And first of all, what you're looking to do is to create a habit. When you first look to create a habit, such as behavior contracting, it might seem right there unbearable. And what this means is you don't have a neural tract that's laid down. And the only way that you're going to get yourself to do something that seems unbearable is through declaring it and being held accountable. Accountability is the key. Now, eventually, you're going to start to lay down through actions. You build new neurons. You physically grow new neurons. You're developing a new neural network. So it goes from being unbearable to uncomfortable. The only way you maintain activity that is uncomfortable is through behavioral contracting, accountability. And then once you've done it enough and you've populated the neurons, now you go to this is where you want to be, unstoppable. There is no way now, I teach the avoidance of flour and sugar. There is no way now that I will ever have a sugar laden yogurt. There's no way now that I will ever have bread. I'm unstoppable. And I remember doing this with myself and my wife. Get gas in your tank when it's on half. We went from it was unbearable. We didn't have the neurological pathway. Keep doing it. Make a contract. I get gas in my tank was on half, or pay $100, or whatever the consequence is going to be. You have that accountability. You start laying down the neurological track. I don't feel like it's uncomfortable. Keep doing it because you committed to it. All of a sudden, unstoppable. And it might take 20 to 250 days for you to populate neurons like this and get a neurological network. And the same thing with behavioral contracting. If you stay with this now, when it's new, if you stay with this, make a contract. I make a behavior contract for this week. Put that in as one of your commitments. If you stay with this now, when you get unstoppable, you'll do it every week. Also, it's the other way around. Let's say you have a habit that you want to get rid of. It's going to feel unbearable because you have this thick neurological network. The way that you move and distinguish this, the way that you get rid of it through synaptic pruning, it's called, is through accountability, is through behavior contracting. And then you go to uncomfortable as you start to prune away the neurons, and then you go to unstoppable. The two important ingredients, accountability somebody else holding you accountable. That's what the behavior contracting is, and 100% commitment. It's a lot easier to be 100% committed than it is to be 50% committed, because with 100% commitment, there is no negotiation. Now, I should make you aware of something. I have a website that is an automated behavior contracting program, accountability and coaching program. It's bobdaviescoaching.com. So if you want, it's a $20 a month fee. So if you want to get into something that's automated and low cost, that gives you coaching and automates the behavior contracting process, go to bobdaviescoaching.com. And so remember, I'm only an email away, and I want to wish you the best of luck with this. Let me know how you're doing. You can do this. Stay with it. Don't let your logical, conscious brain talk you out of this. All right, everyone. Have a great week.